Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of Blame It on the Stars, where we give you an inside look on what's going on in the universe so you can blame your problems on the stars. It is Jade here.
And it's Kara.
And this week, we'll be talking all about the first things that happen in 2023, Venus in Aquarius, and the full moon in Cancer. And in case you did not know, last week we did have a week off, but we did cover the entire 2023 What You Need to Know overview. So if you are curious about what happens in 2023, you want to know the big major moments that happen, definitely listen to that episode before diving into this one, or honestly, whenever, because it's relevant for the whole year.
And just to give you a heads up, next week we have some good news. Both Mars retrograde in Gemini and Mercury retrograde will be ending. Our communication and motivation will be back on track. Everything you need to know about that will be in next week's episode.
And after a short ad break, let's get into how your relationships are affected by Venus in Aquarius and what you need to know about the full moon in Cancer. So the first thing that happens this week and also this entire year is Venus entering Aquarius. This happens on January 2nd at 9:10 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Per usual, the date and time are from the website astroseek.com. What you need to know when it comes to relationships, friendships become a little bit more important than maybe some of your other types of relationships, including those with family or coworkers or even roommates, etc. Overall, you find that you're wanting to find your group of friends, spend more time with your friends.
During this time, you also might feel more creative because Venus does deal with our creative side and also how we express ourselves. So you might find that you're honing in on your own style and that you are more authentic in your self-expression.
Yeah, this does show up a lot in like style, fashion, creativity, etc., where maybe you're coming more of your authentic self and letting go of what the quote unquote status quo is. But sometimes that might even manifest as needing to take some time away from relationships for a minute so you can find your own voice. While yes, friendships are a big focus at this point in time, if you find that you are craving just a little bit more space, maybe to find your own style, that space can be helpful in just figuring out your own voice.
Something you might not know is that this Venus in Aquarius transit will be a little bit challenging because of the aspects. We will go in depth into the aspects in just a moment, but again, something that you need to keep in mind because it's not going to be your typical Venus in Aquarius transit.
And if you're wondering though, like how long does this last? You have until January 26th because that's when Venus will enter Pisces. Venus enters Pisces that January 26th at 9:33 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So up until like 9:32 p.m. Eastern Standard Time on that day is when you'll have Venus in Aquarius.
So how does this affect you? Certain signs will be more affected than others. Starting with Aquarius, this Venus transit will be conjunct your Aquarius placements. You can expect to be more social and creative during this time. If you have Leo placements, then Venus will be opposite those placements. Oppositions will highlight any imbalances that you have in terms of your relationships with others and even yourself. So it might be a little bit more challenging, but again, it's really highlighting those aspects of your life. If you have Taurus or Scorpio placements, then Venus will be square those placements, which will bring some challenges to your relationships, friendships, and also how you express yourself.
Now, certain signs are more likely to find love than others. The first one being Leo risings, because Venus will be in your 7th house of relationships. And then also Libra risings, because Venus will be in your 5th house of romance. So overall, with that combination, Leo risings and Libra risings are the most likely to find love during this time. Also, just because this has been a question that has been coming up quite a bit, This only applies to Leo risings and Libra risings. Unlike the other most affected, where it can be any placement, the most likely to find love is only for rising signs because it sets up the system of houses. And if you are curious about houses, we did do an educational episode all about it that can explain that in greater detail. There are some key dates during Venus in Aquarius that you're going to want to pay attention to. As we mentioned, there are some challenging moments to this, and there's also some positive moments. One of those positive moments is on January 4th with Venus sextile Jupiter. This is a great time to be social and to have fun.
And then on January 9th, Venus will be trine Mars. Typically, trines are very positive aspects, and Mars can bring a lot of energy and excitement to this Venus transit. However, it's important to remember that Mars is retrograde, so just be aware that there could be some weird retrograde things going on during this time.
Yeah, and the following day, January 10th, is definitely not, to be fully honest, not the best time to be meeting new people at all, because Venus is square the north and south nodes. So with this overall, you might find that you're reevaluating the people in your life, whether or not they are people that need to be in your life. That is as broad and general as it really is. It's not specific. This is broad and general in this regard. You also might find that maybe you're not the most social, or you're just paying more attention to who is getting your energy and things like that.
Then on January 14th, Venus will be square Uranus. This is really going to highlight our need and desire to be independent during this time. So you might find that relationships and working with others could be a little bit more challenging. Again, squares do bring about tensions, and there can be some unexpected changes that occur on this day.
And on January 22nd, Venus is conjunct Saturn. This is a great day for setting boundaries in relationships and taking your relationships a little bit more seriously, but also at the same time, it is not necessarily the time where you feel the most social, where you feel the most motivated to go out and make new friends. You might find that you're a little bit more cautious because you're thinking more about the longevity of the relationships that are in your life. The next thing that happens during this week, and it's the first full moon of 2023, it's the full moon in Cancer. This happens on January 6th at 6:07 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. This also is at 16 degrees Cancer. What you need to know: full moons are typically times of releasing, not necessarily for manifesting, and they can bring up imbalances that are occurring in life. Now, the Cancer and Capricorn axis is one that is all about logic and emotion. You might find that on this day, you are paying more attention to that balance in your life. Are you more logical rather than emotional? Are you more emotional rather than logical? Also, it's important to know that Cancer energy is very nurturing. So if you're looking for a good self-care day, this is a great day to do so.
If you listen to our episode about Capricorn season, then you already know this. I'm just reminding you that Mars and Mercury are retrogrades. We have this full moon in Cancer, which is a good time to release anything that's going to stop us from being able to work towards those goals or those intentions that we set. And then once the retrogrades are over, which we will be talking about next week, we will be able to start fresh. This would be a great full moon to focus on releasing and taking care of ourselves so that we are able to enter this new year with a fresh start.
While this is a fairly positive full moon, you still might find that your emotions are running a little bit higher this day. And this is because something you might not know, or maybe you did know this, is that Cancer is ruled by the moon. So this being a full moon in its home sign of Cancer, which is a water sign, can bring up a lot of emotions this day. So this might feel maybe like an emotional release, but it feels like a good one, like a positive emotional release where you feel good after it.
certain signs will be more affected than others by this full moon. If you have Cancer and or Capricorn placements, then this full moon will be highlighting the imbalances in your life between logic and emotion. If you have Aries or Libra placements, then this full moon will be square your placements, again, bringing about challenges that have to do with your logic and emotions.
Now, this is a positive full moon, mostly because the aspects that are going on during the full moon in Cancer are fairly positive. The sun is conjunct Mercury this day, which is highlighting our communication. The sun is conjunct retrograde Mercury, so there might be an emphasis on introspection, and the same thing applies with the moon being opposite retrograde Mercury. You might find that you are taking a step back to process your feelings and emotions, maybe not necessarily communicating them, but that reflective and introspective nature of the retrograde Mercury is definitely emphasized during this time.
Another aspect to know is that during this full moon, Uranus will be trine the sun and sextile the moon. This will allow us to release in a way that is very quick and spontaneous. It also can be really emphasizing our creative nature, and you might want to express or release things, your emotions perhaps, through art or in other creative ways.
And that's definitely true because the moon is also trine Neptune, which makes us feel very dreamy and creative and also spiritual in nature. So as Kara was saying with the aspects to Uranus as well, this is a really good time for being creative, whether that means just taking a bath and listening to music or creating a playlist or making a photo album, scrapbooking, painting, drawing, whatever your vibe is. This is definitely a full moon to enjoy being creative. Now, if you're curious to know how maybe Venus in Aquarius or the full moon in Cancer affect you on a more personal level, then this is your reminder that we do offer readings. Readings are hosted on an app called Intro, which allows for FaceTime style like calls. You select who you want the reading with, whether that be me, Jade, or Kara. We have readings for as short as 15 minutes to as long as 1 hour. You decide what you want to talk about, so you can go ahead and input your questions and we'll be able to answer them face to face on the call.
And if you've never booked a reading with us before, then you can use the code STARS, all caps, STARS, for $20 off your first reading.
And just a reminder, next week we will be delivering some great news. I'm sure you're all going to want to tune into this one because it has very positive news that will make you very happy to hear, including the fact that Mars retrograde is ending and Mercury retrograde is ending too. And we'll tell you what to expect moving forward. So definitely stick around for next week to hear what good stuff is in store. And I don't know when post shadow ends. But if you want to stay in the loop with us and what's to come, then make sure you're following us on social media. We are on TikTok, Instagram, and YouTube at BLME The Stars. That is all for now, and we'll see you all next Monday. Bye.